guys, welcome to Chrissy's Tiny Kitchen. Today I'm going to share with you one of my absolute favorite roast chicken dinners. This has been my favorite thing since I was a little kid. It's a Portuguese style roast chicken and potatoes. I actually loved it so much that when I was in school, I remember a project where we had to write a poem about our favorite food, and mine was entitled My Mother's Roast Chicken. It's actually funny because she found this the other day in a stash of my old writing. So this is very basic, but I am promising you it is going to be super delicious. It's all things that you probably have on hand in your kitchen. We are using garlic powder, we're using paprika, salt, pepper, olive oil. That's it. It's going to create the most delicious chicken. My mom used to actually get it all seasoned up, get it all ready. You're putting the chicken and potatoes in there all together. And we, as a kid, we used to go to church every Sunday, and she would leave it in the oven super low. We'd come home from church and you would just be greeted by the amazing, amazing aroma. Now, this is a mild version. My mom has never been one for spicy food, so she always kept it just the paprika, garlic powder, salt, pepper. Now, if you wanted to, you could add some red chili flakes, some peri-peri seasoning. I do it the way my mom did, and then spice it up on your own plate if you would like to add some hot sauce. So let's do this. All right, so I typically just loosely season this just by hand, but I'm trying to create proper recipes for you guys to follow. So what I'm gonna do is do equal parts paprika and equal parts garlic powder. So quarter cup of, and this is just a sweet paprika. I've done it with the smoked because that's all I had on hand at the time, but it definitely does change the flavor. It's still good, but it changes the flavor. Now quarter cup of garlic powder. And that's our seasoning mix. The salt and pepper, that I will still do sort of by hand, because for me salt and pepper is something you do according to your own tastes. Now, we're using whole chickens, so don't be afraid to salt them. They need to have a generous amount of salt and pepper on them, inside and out, okay? So here we have our, I did a double batch, because this is nice to actually just keep on hand in your kitchen. But for this recipe, you should only need the quarter cup each of paprika and garlic powder. I doubled it. So in here I've got half cup paprika, half cup garlic powder, just mixing it up really well. And you can put this in an airtight container, and this can stay in your spice cupboard, okay? So to start with, that ready. Okay, so to start with, I'm just gonna grab good old-fashioned roasting pan. I tell you, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is how I grew up with my mom making it, and it was so delicious. All right, so that same quarter cup, again, I usually eyeball this, but I want to do it properly for you guys. So I'm gonna put this big pan. I'm putting half a cup of olive oil in the bottom of the pan, and I just like to move this around. So you want to really coat the bottom of that pan. Now, put that on there for now. We're going to use that olive oil again. So I just have whole roasting chickens. I'm doing 2 because I want to share. So I'm going to be doing a little drop off for my sister and her husband and little boy. So let me get that one in there. And what I like too is these whole roasting chickens I grabbed at Walmart for $10 each. And you're going to get an amazing meal out of them today. And save your scraps, save those bones, skin, whatever you have left over. because it's also going to make the most delicious chicken broth afterwards. So I always save my scraps. Okay, so what I like to do is I put them in the pan with just the olive oil in there for now, and I'm actually going to move them all around because I want to get them coated with that olive oil. It is going to help the seasoning stick, and it's also going to help them brown up beautifully. I'm actually really excited to share this recipe with you guys because, number one, part of my Portuguese heritage, and it's a childhood favorite, and it's so simple. People go crazy for this. Okay, so we make sure we have every little crevice fully covered with our olive oil, and I'm going to stop with them upside down because we're seasoning the whole thing. We're doing the underside, we're doing the top, and I try to sprinkle some inside the cavity as well. First things first, I was touching raw chicken, so I'm going to give my hands a quick wash, and then we'll continue from there. Hands are clean, so we're going to go ahead with our seasoning on the chicken. You want to season these chickens generously, okay? So we're going to take our paprika and garlic powder mix, and I'm just going to take big pinches, and we're going to coat all over this chicken. Make sure it's going to have a really nice red color, okay? We want that paprika to really color up that chicken. We use a lot of paprika in Portuguese cooking. It's one of those things that, oh, it's just used for color, da 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 da. It does have flavor, it really does. Okay, we've got salt here, and again, do not be afraid to salt your bird. Got a good pinch here. I'm gonna coat that underside, probably a good tablespoon on the underside of each chicken here. And I use my mortar and pestle, and I ground up a ton of black pepper. So again here, maybe a teaspoon worth. We don't need as much pepper as the salt. Okay. And because I don't want to contaminate, so I'm using my right hand for all my spicing, I'm going to flip the birds over with my left hand. Okay, good and good. And we are going to do the top. Again, coat those chickens. Make sure they're nice and red. So much flavor. Okay. It is amazing what these simple spices will do. Okay, so those are really nicely coated. And again, a really hearty pinch of salt on top of each chicken. And a good bit of pepper as well. Okay, like so. Now I am going to take another pinch of the salt, and I'm going to do a little in the cavity of the bird. Season that meat from the inside as well. Okay, that's it. That's all we do for our chickens. So you'll see they're really nicely coated. Now in a bowl here, I had peeled and quartered 10 potatoes. I usually try to do 2 to 3 potatoes per person depending on the size. So 10 potatoes peeled and quartered, doesn't matter what kind. You can even use baby potatoes. My mom did it that way as well. I do it that way sometimes. I do prefer using just a regular peeled potato quartered. It just soaks up so much more flavor, I find. Still gonna be good either way. So another quick hand wash here. And don't forget, you're touching raw chicken, so you want to keep washing those hands as you go. So for the potatoes, you're seasoning them the same as you did the chicken. Okay. I'm gonna grab my olive oil. Let's see here. 1/4 cup is good. take some more of our seasoning. I'm gonna say I'm gonna use maybe about 2 tablespoons of that. Salt and pepper to taste. And again, your potatoes will suck up a lot of salt. Just gonna grab a spoon and give those a good stir. These potatoes, last time I made this, I had tons of them left over. And what I did was chop them up a little bit smaller, and I used them for breakfast. I made like a home fry hash brown type potato, and all I did was cut them up, use a little bit of the bacon fat from the bacon I was cooking, and then some green onion. Oh, I'm telling you, they were some of the best home fries I've ever had. Okay, so don't be afraid to make extra because they're lovely leftover. So just a little close up. So there's our potatoes nicely coated. And we are going to kind of just plop these around the chicken wherever there's some space. So this is all going to cook together. You're going to get the juices of the chicken in the potatoes, all that seasoning. Oh, it smells so good already. Oh, I can't wait to... My sister knows I'm making dinner for her and dropping it off, but I think she's going to be pretty excited when she sees what it is. Okay, just move those around a little bit. Make room on this side. Perfect. You know, I've made this for friends and they're always blown away at how simple this dish is, but the flavor you develop is amazing, amazing, amazing. Alrighty, so we've got our chickens in, we've got our potatoes around, a little bit of water, about 1 inch of water at the bottom of your pan. So I'm just gonna pour some in. This is gonna help cook and steam. We got the water kind of all over, a teeny bit more. There we go. All right, about 1 inch of water goes in the bottom and the lid goes on. I have my oven preheated to 400. I'm gonna check it in about 45 minutes and we'll see if it's done. Okay, we've just taken our chicken and potatoes out of the oven. So I left it for the last 10 minutes. I checked it at the 45 minutes. Not quite up to temp, so took the lid off. 10 more minutes, and we're just gonna check that temperature here. Make sure that we're good. We want 165 to make sure that that chicken is good to serve. Perfect. Okay. Before I cut it up, I am gonna let it rest just a minute, let those juices redistribute. And we have our Portuguese style roast chicken and potatoes. And I'll just sort of poke the potatoes here. You can see how nice and tender they are. They've absorbed a lot of the juices from the chicken. I wish you guys could smell my tiny kitchen right now. So I'm going to take these out. Like I said, one of them is... So I'm going to let the chicken rest a little bit. In the meantime, I'm going to start scooping out my gorgeous potatoes. Look at the color on there from the paprika. They have that nice red color. And everybody eats so much of these potatoes. That's why I like to have extra all the time. And as I had mentioned earlier, they're great leftover. You can make them into a delicious home fry. Just cut them up. Cook them with some butter, some bacon fat, add a little green onion. And if you wanted to, you could take the juices, reduce them down and make a gravy, but honestly, we would just drizzle some of the juices as is, dip some bread in there. So I hope you guys really enjoy this Very simple, very flavorful Portuguese style roast chicken dinner, and give it a try. You will not be disappointed.